Hey everyone, this is Leadership in the Moment, brought to you by the TurkNet Leadership Group. I'm Tim Huff. In these next several sessions, we're going to be exploring the concept of authentic leadership. We're going to be looking at the ways in which a purpose-based leadership approach is applied in a normal everyday environment, as well as passion and values, and the importance of all three of these characteristics that build together to create an authentic leadership style. So in this first episode, we're going to be looking at a purpose-based approach, and I got an opportunity to catch up with Richard Hicks. Richard is the CEO of Inspiredu. Inspiredu is an organization based here in the greater Atlanta area that's laser focused on bridging the digital divide in our underserved communities. So let's take a listen to how Richard is exploring his purpose-based leadership approach in his role. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Mr. Richard Hicks. Richard, thank you so much for being with us today. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much. Hey, we're talking about authentic leadership. And one of the first things about authentic leadership that I think is really crucial is a sense of purpose. And when I think about purpose, I think Richard Hicks. I mean, you embody the whole concept about what a purpose-driven leader is all about. So how does your sense of purpose and your organization's sense of purpose help drive you as a leader? And how do you stoke that in others?
Leadership, and thanks for having me on. This is great to talk about. Sometimes you don't get asked these questions very often. So it's kind of digging into that core. When you talk about purpose, you're talking about a deeper divine calling that you want to be able to do to help the community, especially in my world, and being able to do what you do in the corporate world. I think that driving yourself towards a purpose is definitely something that everyone should be able to do, but also being able to reflect on where you want your purpose to lie. How do you want to have that sort of leadership blossom to come out of this? And the purpose that I have coming from Inspire EDU is being able to not just not just be a technology specialist, but also to how to pay it forward in education. Because myself, I'm educated, and I feel like there's a reason why I should pass it on. And purpose is driven by making sure that you want to pass on what you've learned. And learning is always a journey for us. We're always learning new things. We're always going into new endeavors. And our journey in life is a book that's written through many chapters. And being able to come out of it knowing that, hey, I did this good in the world is definitely something that should drive you to find out what your calling is. And so true purpose drove me to be a technology specialist at Georgia Military College, because my whole family was actually in education, and my father really pushed it in us. He said that education will take you further than you trying to tackle or catch a football. And it means the world to have that sort of family engagement, because it did drive me to really hone in on what I really want to do and what my purpose in life is. So it took me to the education role within Georgia Military College, and learning technology through the years, which through Georgia Military College, they would have the slogan, character above all. It actually worked and strengthened my character. The character that you have and how you care should take shape over time. And as I went through my learning experiences through Georgia Military and being able to help have them guide me, I had great leadership. It actually catapulted me into the job that I am now in nonprofit. Going into nonprofit is not an easy thing for everyone, because you definitely want to see how much money you can make in the world, but that shouldn't be your purpose only. Your purpose should be driven by, what do you want to do? What do you want to be remembered by? And so Georgia Military College, left there and came to Inspire EDU. We were part of a national nonprofit, and spun off in 2020, but we've always kept the work focused on the community at hand. And that drove my leadership ability even further, because it was coming from a grassroots perspective, and seeing some of the underserved community and what was needed helped me to actually really know what I wanted to do. When you see something like that, it can really resonate, and it can really reach your core. And if it does reach your core, and you're able to pull that sort of leadership, that leadership cocoon that's been inside of you out, then you'll start to know what direction to travel. And it has driven my purpose to be a leader within Inspiredu and being able to be a leader within the community because I care about it. I care about what these families, these students, and even all of the different supporters who are a part of our work. What I care about how we're going to move forward.
Mhm. Well said. Well said. One of the things that you mentioned that is a foundational element that we have here at TurkNet Leadership Group is leadership character. And the whole leadership character model that we have, you embody that so well. And I think the way that you described your purpose is very inspiring. You could teach a master class on that on purpose. That's well said. And one of the things that I've seen in the past, especially those who have a true sense of purpose and they have a lot of interest in really reaching their goals, a lot of times they say yes to so many different things because they're so enthusiastic. But somebody with a true sense of purpose knows when, how to say no to something so they can stay true to their purpose. Can you tell us a time when you've had to say no to something that really sounded interesting so that you can stay true to your purpose?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that question because it's hard. It's hard to say no. I mean, we tell our children no every time they want to get some candy or something like that. No, you don't need that. Don't rot your teeth out. So you want to, in this sort of world where you're actually uh, being hit with so many different, asks. We tend to be driven. A lot of us are self-driven. We like to drive ourselves to the next challenge. We like to really challenge ourselves, but there's that needle that we have to thread with that. And so in my world, coming from a nonprofit sector, it's hard to say no, but you have to in some cases. So what I really do is do a deep evaluation of what the con is to saying no and what the, there's always a cause and effect. And being able to see that cause and effects helps to drive me to when to say yes, when we need to look at it a little closer. I think sometimes when you shoot from the hip and it's automatic no, you want to kind of be careful about that. I always say, take things in and assess it. You can always say, no or maybe or tentatively. Time is always on your side with that.
Mhm.
Take time to evaluate anything that doesn't give you any time. Then you definitely want to make sure that one, it goes into a deeper evaluation because you don't want to just dive into the water with a whole bunch of piranhas. We want to be able to make sure that this is the right decision. So what drives me is being able to take my time, evaluate the actual opportunity that we have that's presented to Inspire EDU, but before going out and just saying nope, 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 because sometimes you're going to say no to the wrong thing, and then it's hard to reel it back in. It's hard, and I think this old saying, it's hard to unring a bell. Once the bell's rung, then it goes forward. So be careful about ringing that bell too early. Try to evaluate it so that it can be the right no bell that you ring, so that it doesn't come back to haunt you later. And that's a tough one. That's a tough one that I think people, when they don't have a clear purpose, they kind of dive into a lot of everything. And we see that, and it's not I'm not gonna say it's a bad trait. It's just that search is always ever prevalent in people's lives, and it's not just in the professional, it's in personal. I mean, we see it from people that are going out there shopping for all sorts of a new car, and they can't decide because once you get in front of that salesman, there's a commitment. Because they're going to give you a whole bunch of paperwork. So being able to be committed and knowing what's right to do, take your time to do it as a leader. Don't rush, assess, because before you say anything, think about what you're going to say.
Yeah, very well put. Like a deliberate decision making process to make sure that what you're doing is truly in alignment with your purpose. That's well said. And one of the things that we've had some conversations within TurkNet Leadership Group recently on well-being and mental health, and as challenging as this year and last year have been for everybody, we're trying to incorporate the things that people do, that the best practices to help people take care of themselves with the compelling purpose that you have and how driven you are with your organization. What are some of the things that you do to maintain your sense of well-being and mental health?
You have to uh, maintain your mental health in order to maintain good leadership quality.
Mm.
And you have to find a way to break away from things. Like it is not uh, the world won't burn down if you take a break to kind of see that the world is round and not flat. And I always encourage leaders to go and take, if it's weekend, take you 24 hours to just kind of go out there and see what the world is about on a peaceful side. Don't always stay in that gauntlet or that fast lane. I know it's kind of one of those moments where you feel like if I break away for a moment, then things are going to get out of control. This thing has been running since the beginning of time without you. And when you landed on this place, you actually you become a part of a bigger blueprint. So trust me, it won't burn down for you taking some time out to refresh yourself. And that's how you develop clear focus. I always have those Zen moments where I go out and I kind of walk in a field and look at the grass and just kind of realize that, this earth and this place is, it's a beautiful place. And it's not about trying to sit here and be in a conference room staring at email, staring, at the next project that's coming out on the copier and stuff. Well, what you want to do is be able to break your mind away from that so that it can think clearly. It's like wiping the slate clean of any anxiety, frustration, all these other things that go along with leadership. Take that time to wipe that slate clean, then come back. And and I encourage those who have families, your family is going to be with you. Be with them, see them, because those moments, don't last. The one thing in this world that I always say during our volunteer days is that I thank folks for their time, because you can always get funds and all of these other things, but you cannot ever get that time back. Use that time the most wisest way that you can, because you can't get it back. Don't always spend the time uptight. And as a good friend that Grant Shee mentioned to me, is that you always want to have that self purpose. You want to be able to have that sort of focus, and reflection time is always important. And we want to make sure that we're reflecting and spending time. I always love whenever they post on Facebook the Shees, you see their family, and those are moments that you should gravitate to, because those moments will last with you forever. All of this other stuff, it's going to continue moving. It's going to circle back around, but those moments will last with you forever. And those are the moments that you focus on and break away. And then you come back to that whole leadership role, and you'll be refreshed. You'll have a better focus.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of things there that are absolutely spot on for people who truly embody the whole authentic leadership mentality, and somebody with a true sense of purpose being able to be focused and refocused when they spend time focusing on themselves. I think that's a very, very good way to put it. So Richard, this has been a really good conversation. Thank you so much for your time. It's always great to catch up with you. And I truly, truly appreciate the sense of purpose that you have for yourself and your organization. You are an authentic leader, and I truly appreciate the time that you spent with me and being in the moment.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tim.
I always like talking with Richard Hicks. He's such an incredible human being, and the organization that he put together is having a world of good here in the greater Atlanta area. You might want to check him out at iuatl.com, iuatl.com. It's part of our conversation. One of the big takeaways that I took was when he was describing how it all started with the leadership character that he developed back in college. And he built from that, understanding his calling in life. And then from there, he progressed further into understanding what the world needs. And then he applied his leadership to solving that problem. That is a wonderful way that really embodies how a purpose-based leader can truly be an authentic leader in our society, and the way in which it unfolds in your organization can have the same kind of impact. So ladies and gentlemen, until next time, thank you so much for listening in, and we will continue our series on authentic leadership.